The Riviera Maya, this area where I am on the East Coast, it's become more popular. So people always thought, oh well, there's Cancun, and that it's only party, party, party place. And I mean, that's only partially true, and it's not really like the meat and bones of it.
Welcome to the Retirement in Mexico podcast, your guide to a life of sun, sand, and possibility. If you've ever dreamed of spending your golden years under the warm Mexican sun, surrounded by breathtaking beaches, rich culture, and an exciting community, you're in the right place. We're here to guide you every step of the way with expert insights, inspiring stories, and everything you need to know to make your move with confidence. The best chapter of your life is yours to create. Let's do this. Hey, Susana, my goodness, it's been years. The last time I saw you was in a webinar.
Hey, Taniel, how are you? I know it's been a while. I'm doing very well. How are you?
Doing great here in Vallarta. It's almost June, and it's definitely gotten warmer, and the humidity is creeping in. How's it in your neck of the woods?
Oh, it's definitely warm here too, but you know what? I'm never going to complain about it being warm because I rather have this anytime over winter. Like that's the one thing I can't handle. So Summer's almost here, and pretty warm. Humidity is creeping up, but great for my skin, so I love it.
I always say the humidity is great for your skin and your hair, and your nails grow a lot faster too.
Yes, I love it. My hair is very long now. You can't tell because I have a bun, but yes.
So Susana, so tell our viewers, where do you live and what do you do?
Okay. Well, so I'm a real estate agent in the Riviera Maya. So I encompass everything that is from Cancun into Playa del Carmen into Tulum. We're in the Mexican Caribbean, so it's on the East Coast side of Mexico. Not everybody knows Playa del Carmen. They mostly know Cancun for sure, and Tulum is becoming quite popular too.
Yeah, you know what? I was in Playa del Carmen for the first time 10 years ago, and I was there for I think 4 or 5 days, and then went down to Tulum. But I hear it's quite different now from 10 years ago. So tell me what that's all about.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed just a little bit. Well, the Riviera Maya, this area where I am on the East Coast, it's become more popular. So people always thought, oh, well, there's Cancun, and that it's only party, party, party place. And I mean, that's only partially true. And it's not really like the meat and bones of it. But as you travel south, coming into Playa del Carmen and Tulum, you have smaller areas. 10 years ago when you were here, I mean, Playa was very small. It's changed quite a bit as well. But Tulum has had this big explosion that has happened because it became very popular, I would say probably about, 5 to 7 years ago. It started being a buzz maybe about 7 years ago, to where people were starting to hear and they were starting to, have famous people come to visit, so on and so forth. And then people from up north in the United States, from both the East Coast and the West Coast, discovered it, and it changed the whole thing. 5 years ago, with the pandemic and everything, that's really when it all super exploded.
I mean, was it the celebrities you think that put it on the map, or just were people right after the vaccines came out, they were just flocking all over Mexico?
So I think that really what did it big time in was the vaccines, because I mean, Mexico never closed. So it was always open. So as soon as people were able to leave their place where they were living, I mean, you just wanted to get out. So they came here, and they all went to Tulum for sure. Everybody went. And that also pushed a lot of growth and a lot of construction and a lot of development in the area. It's been both positive, but there's also a little bit of negative because it growing so fast, the infrastructure is still catching up. Sure. And the prices started to rise maybe more than they should have in some of the locations, but it's all leveling. It's like a normal thing that can happen here sometimes, just based on when there's high demand. You want to be able to have big supply, and it's just a matter of things leveling out.
Yeah, in Vallarta, right when the vaccines came out, people were able to travel again in 2021, 2022, when they felt comfortable traveling, after the vaccines. There was a big explosion in the real estate market here in Vallarta. So you experienced the same thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, for a while there, I was thinking, oh, with this happening, I don't know how with the real estate business is going to be, but we just had to wait a little bit. But yeah, when it started, it just went boom. I mean, it went
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then you also ended up with a large number of new real estate agents in the market.
Yeah. So and everybody and their mother and their hairdresser and their pet sitter wanted to become a real estate agent. But I think the same thing happened in the States. The real estate market was booming, and all of a sudden, everybody wanted to become an agent.
Yes.
And which I want to touch on later on about working with the right agent. So you cover from Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum.
That is correct. So it is a large area, but yes and no, because each of the areas are different. I've been living here and working this market for 13, almost 14 years. So over that period of time, there's always one area that is more popular than the other. And because it is all part of this corridor, from Cancun all the way down to Tulum, I feel it's very important to be informed about the type of product that you have out there, and also to be able to be a better service to the clients, to the people that are looking, because I don't want to be able to tell somebody that says looking for Cancun, no, I'm sorry, I don't really know that market. No, of course I know it. And I make sure that I have good relationship with agents that are in that area and with the products that are, good in that area. And the same thing goes for Playa del Carmen, and the same thing goes for Tulum. I mean, and everything in between.
Okay. So I'd like to cover all three areas, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So let's start with Cancun. I think that's one of the most famous resort destinations in Mexico, if not in the world. I think pretty much everyone in the world has heard of Cancun. So explain to us where Cancun is located and what can someone expect as a tourist, and then also if someone's looking at buying a property there. So what does that look like?
Sure. Okay, so Cancun, this area really came on the map about almost 55 years ago. Cancun was founded in 1970, and it was at a time when, when the government came and they looked, they were like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? There's nothing that you can do from an agricultural standpoint, because all you have is a bunch of sand, palm trees, coconuts, and sea. So when they were looking at the whole thing from Cancun all the way down to Tulum, they were trying to think, well, what are we going to do? So let's try to do this like a resort town, a vacation thing, and see what happens. And they ended up opting for the area of Cancun. So little did they know that it was going to take off like it did as wildfire. So as the area kept growing, you ended up having what is like now known as like the hotel zone side, which is everything that is ocean front. So you have a bunch of hotels, you have some residential condos, you have some condo hotels, and it became very, very popular. Tulum ended up growing Cancun ended up growing quite a bit, and it started expanding westward as well because people were coming to live here. All those hotel executives that needed to be here full time. I mean, you don't want to live at a hotel 24/7 with your family. So that pushed, that residential aspect going west a bit out. Also, the airport growing and just the different types of jobs allowed for the city to develop. In the hotel zone, you have obviously all the hotels, the big resorts where everybody wants to go to, because the beach in Cancun is absolutely gorgeous. It
Yeah.
is beautiful.
That turquoise
And
color is
you had,
pure magic.
oh my gosh, I mean, there is a pool tile that is called Cancun Blue. I mean, there's a reason why they're calling it that. So you ended up having obviously all the hotels that take the majority of that part of the beach, but also you have some residential towers because there were people that wanted to be able to live in front of the ocean and be able to rent it when they were not using it. And for that reason, you also had like residential condo hotels. A few years ago, because you were able to do rentals in the residential condominiums as well, you were able to do vacation rentals. But that is something that has changed over the last, I want to say like 5 years. There's a law that passed that allowed for condos that are for residential use, specifically in the hotel zone, that they could only do long-term rentals. So anything from
Interesting.
3 months all the way up to 12 months and beyond, just no vacation rentals.
Why
It
do you
was
think? Why do you think they did that?
Well, I think it's because they started to cut into the hotel profits because people that would, instead of staying at the resort, decided to go into the Airbnb. So I think that there was a big push to be able to
From the hotel lobbyists?
from the hotel lobbyists because the money was being like, coming out of their pockets.
Okay.
So that's
So,
also.
but that only applies to the beachfront condo hotels, or that's also for anything else inland?
Well, I mean, it is started applying only to like the condo and like normally that's where it would be like by law that you can't. In the rest of the city, you have places that you can do for vacation rentals, but there have been some HOAs and there's some projects out there that have voted in just the long-term rentals, no vacation rentals. So that's something that you have to very much keep in mind in Cancun. You're having growth now also a little bit going north of like Cancun proper, going towards Playa Mujeres, and you're having some projects developed there. You also have before that, in between like Cancun Hotel Zone and Playa Mujeres, you have the Puerto Cancun. And in Puerto Cancun, there's also residential condos. And on some of those, you can do vacation rentals, but because being in the proximity to the hotel zone, most of it is pushing to be able to do just like the long term rent.
Is that region also beachfront?
There are some.
There
There
are
are
some.
some, and the ones that are beachfront, then those are only for vacation rentals. In
Okay.
the city, you have like to where you could do short term or long term. But normally, when you're looking more inside the city, more westward, just because of the fact that we're different from Vallarta, we don't have mountains. Like you have like the one ocean front line. So everything else that is inward, I mean, there are people that like to stay and that they use them for vacation rentals. But if they don't want to have a car, then, it just tends to work more towards that long-term rental market.
So has this new law where you could only do long term, what did you say, minimum 3 months?
Minimum 3 months.
3 months. Has that affected sales price for people that are looking at buying a condo for the purpose of just renting it out?
Well, I mean, not too much, really. Maybe they were not appreciating as fast as they should have, but they didn't lose their value. And there's an important reason for this. It's because you also have a lot of tourism that comes from the northern parts of North America, United States, and Canada, that the population that is retired, they don't want to be in the winter like the 6, 7 months that they could be in. So they actually look for the long term rentals. They're like,
Yeah.
I want to rent at least three months, if not
Yeah.
6 months. So
Yeah, we got a lot of snowbirds here coming from the cold climates, and especially in Canada, it gets really, really cold up there.
yes,
And so they're always here like for about 6 months during the winter.
yes,
Our winter is nice and warm.
our winter is
So
amazing.
it's wonderful. But you guys in the Riviera Maya, you guys also benefit from a lot of European tourists and from Central America, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See,
And so,
we don't get as many of those on the West Coast because Puerto Vallarta is on the West Coast.
yes.
Most of our tourists are Americans and Canadians. We get a few Europeans, but now there are going to be more direct flights because our airport's expanding. But you guys definitely get a lot of Europeans and Central Americans coming there as well, so you have that benefit.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about that is that you start having different seasons because depending on who has vacations at what time of year, you always find like different communities and different nationalities that come to the area. One thing that I think the hotel operators and that Cancun has done that is very, very smart is all the direct international flights that come into the Cancun International Airport. So it's something that I want to say is the busiest international airport in all of Mexico, even more so than Mexico City, just because we have so many direct flights that come into the airport. And that's why it had to keep on expanding. We have 4 terminals now. I believe that that's all that maximum capacity that the airport can take in the area where it's located, and is certainly not going to be moved. So
Yeah. Well, in Vallarta, when my first time here was November 2001, and our airport was tiny. I mean, we had 5 little tiny gates with 2 what's it called? Conveyor belts.
Yeah.
And the airport's expanded a few times since I moved here in '03. And now they're adding another expansion where we're going to have more direct flights coming in from the United States and Europe and other parts of the world. So, I mean, I think Mexico's tourism, especially in these big resort destinations like Cancun and Vallarta, it's just booming. Which is great. It's a great option for a lot of people. So if someone's looking at spending, let's say, between $300,000 and $500,000 for a 2-bedroom condo in Cancun on the water, is that realistic?
So, well, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Like on the 300 end, that's going to be a little challenging. But like I said, into like that new market of Playa Mujeres, there are some pre-sale. There are some pre-sale opportunities. I'm not saying that you're going to be facing right in front of the ocean, but you're going to be very close. And then in the 500s, in the hotel zone, you're able to get some opportunities that are there. It's going to be older condos, but yes, there are definite opportunities.
So if you were to go inland, let's say a few blocks or maybe 5 or 10 minutes drive from the beach, can $300,000 or $500,000 get you something nicer, bigger?
Absolutely.
What are we looking at?
I mean, look, you're talking about getting out of the hotels, some of those like higher, tourist areas.
Mm-hmm.
You come more into the city. There are like beautiful neighborhoods with amazing properties, beautiful condos. There is an area right now that is developing very nicely, very popular. It has a little name of Little Miami.
That's the name?
Yep, they're called
Little Miami.
Little Miami. And there's some beautiful condos that have great amenities, beautiful, huge spaces. And you really get a bang for your buck. So for somebody that was looking to relocate here, I think that would be much better. You're going to need a car anyways.
Is that a project under construction now? Or is it already done?
They are. Yes, they are. In fact, one.
They're done?
There are some that are finished, and there are some that are in the process of being built. Like, for example, the condo where I reside in Playa del Carmen, the developer over there has this amazing project that is moving along on time super fast, and they're going to start delivering soon. And the project is absolutely beautiful.
Okay. So then that's a nice segue. So let's go to Playa del Carmen. How far is Playa del Carmen from Cancun?
So I love Playa because it's only 45 minutes from the Cancun airport. So
south.
It's a short drive. Yes, south. Yeah, I should mention that. Yes. 45 minutes south of the Cancun airport. It's a nice little drive and is a small city that has everything, which I love. I should say, though, the first time I came to Playa del Carmen was about 20 years ago, and it was tiny. I am originally from Colombia. I am from Bogota. I lived in the States as well. And going into Playa, the first time was like, oh, cute, but that's too small for me. I'm used to the hustle and bustle of a big city. So that was like for like long-term living, not something that computed with me at that time. But this was a place that I loved to vacation in. So as you come, it became like a yearly destination just because it's so easy to get here. And you start seeing the change and the growth. And eventually it was like, you know what, this is okay. Actually, what really made the huge difference for me was a yoga school that opened. I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try now.
Well, that kind of draws a question in my head. So what originally drew you to that part of Mexico? How did you wind up there?
So, well, coming on vacation really was like a driving factor, just because like the first time I came, ended up falling in love with the entire area. And then being able to see the growth and the change, ended up just initially investing in the area. So put some money in to see how it went, and went through that process myself as a client, even before being an agent or knowing anything about how to do the real estate bid. So it was a good experience that was very scary at the same time, because there were some things that were very different than what I was used to. But we took...
What was different?
Like sometimes like the lack of communication
From your agent?
from the agent, they could have definitely been better, but also just sometimes even just like what I have found here is that, for example, with attorneys, they let you know how things are when something has happened. In the United States, for example, we're very used to if you're working on something and even if nothing is happening, somebody calls you and says, don't worry, we're still working on it. It's just nothing has like finished or taken place yet, but we're on it. Whereas here is more like crickets. And then something is like, oh, now we're in touch. And sometimes that can be like a bit scary, especially when it's like your first time purchasing something. So I enjoyed the process, but there were some things that I wish, and especially on that communications end, that I wish would have been better. And that's what I work on doing always with all of my clients.
Yeah.
So after I invested here, became friends with the people that own the company, which is no longer around. And we had a fallout eventually, which took me to do things on my own as well. But they said, wow, like you're great. And maybe this would be something that you could do. Because I was thinking, that I would like to relocate, that I would like to have a change. So when that opportunity came up, I just kind of took it and said, oh my gosh, you speak English, you speak Spanish, it's going to be so easy. And it was great, but it was not easy.
Yeah.
It was not easy. I had to learn. And then at that time here, really the certification of a real estate agent was not a thing, which is kind of scary, but like I went with it and I am certified and I have gone through the process once like that has been landed. But so I guess whenever I was able to do a change, when that opportunity came, I took it because I always thought, well, maybe I'll end up going back to the US eventually. But I'm really happy here. I love living here. It started as an experiment and it became a lifetime change that I absolutely 100% do not regret doing.
Well, that's great.
Love it here.
You said you've been there for 15 years now?
Almost, no, about 13, almost 14.
Almost 14 years. And how long have you been in real estate?
About 13, 14 years.
Okay. Almost around the same time.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
No, communication is I think number one on the list when we're working with clients, because we ask them, like, what's the most important thing you're looking for in an agent? And usually at the top of that list is communication. People would just want to know, even if there's nothing going on, there's no update, they would like for you to just say, hey, you know what? We haven't vanished. We just don't have an update for you right now. And I think people appreciate that when you're able to do that, right?
I do. I know that is something that is very important to me. So I really want to do that for everybody else. I mean, just like the same thing, like I moved with the investments that I've done, everything here. I use a lawyer. Even if I can read a contract and understand it and everything, I will never move without a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because
We're not
I
lawyers.
am not one. Yeah, exactly. I'm
We're
not
not
one.
lawyers. Sure. So going back to the real estate in Playa del Carmen,
Yes.
What's that been like in the last few years? What's happening right now?
So the real estate in Playa del Carmen went through a big boom, then it slowed down a bit, and now it's like starting to come up again. And the reason for the slowing down is because of a cousin that we have, a little down south that we'll talk about later. But Playa started as a fishing town. And it was a very small place. Most of the streets were sand. And that's something that obviously started to change through the years. The stretch of beach in Playa del Carmen, it's smaller than it is in Cancun. And the area is smaller than the area that Cancun occupies. But it was a more relaxed, like less urban in a way. Not anymore, but it's not like Cancun. But back then, it was just a less urban space. And that drew a lot of people from the US, from Canada, to want to come and explore here also because it was small. And something that I have found that is a very large denominator for a lot of people is that, you know what, I want to live somewhere that I don't need a car.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a requisite that Playa del Carmen fulfills because of the way that the city is designed. So I
remember, 10 years ago that like Fifth Avenue, of course, is like over 20 blocks long.
Yes.
And with all the every kind of restaurant you could think of. and retail outlets. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful place to hang out. But I noticed, and tell me if things have changed, that's kind of like a grid. I mean, it's just all straight lines this way or that way. And it seems like it's pretty well organized.
Yes, that is what I love about Playa. Because, like, for example, Cancun is designing manzanas in circles. So I thank God for Google Maps because I can get very lost very easily. Whereas in Playa, I don't because it's a grid. And what's beautiful about Playa, the way that they designed it, is that pretty much any road that you go down to, you're going to hit the beach.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of accesses to the beach, which is very unique to Playa.
And in Playa, do you have high rises like in Cancun?
No, the highest that you can go here is 5 levels plus like your rooftop terrace. There was for a very brief moment there a couple of buildings that did manage to get permission for a 6th level, but the municipality reversed that to 5 because they don't want to be Cancun. We don't need to be Cancun. But that is only, and I should specify, for things that are on the east side of Playa del Carmen. Then you can go up to 5 levels. When you're on the west side, you can go up to, I believe, 7 or 8. But that's it. We're still not doing the 17, 20 plus flights.
So what divides it? Is it that highway? Was it Highway 307? Is that what separates east and west?
Yes, that is correct. So anything that is east of the 307 is obviously beachside. Anything that is west of the 307 is the west side.
Okay. So let's go back to purchase price. So between $300,000 and $500,000 for a condo. What can one expect to find? Let's just say on the east side of Highway 307, which is on the ocean side. So what can you get if you're looking for 300 to 500? And is there anything for around 250,000?
So oceanfront, you can get in that price point on some inventory. It's a matter of you liking it or not. But there's oceanfront that you can get on that price point. Not on new construction, obviously. That's a lot more. And then on the 250,000, I mean, you can get really great opportunities if you're willing to be just a few blocks back from the beach,
which is nothing.
It's nothing. I mean, you can take.
They're tiny blocks. I remember.
They're tiny blocks.
Yeah.
They're so small. It's very walkable. It's very easy.
So what can you get for $250,000 a few blocks inland from the beach and on the east side?
So I mean, you can do a nice large 1-bedrooms. Some of the older construction, on older buildings that don't have elevators, that don't have like all the amenities that like new products have, you could do 2 bedrooms. Like I said, it's just there is an inventory for everybody. And I feel that in Playa, you have that accessibility more. If you're looking for new construction, even like less than 200,000, like say on the west side, there's some really great opportunities for like 140, 150. But you have to be willing to be on the west side of the 307.
Well, I remember, I think from the west side, it's like a 7-8 minute drive. It's really nothing.
It's not bad.
It's super close.
Yes. Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you specialize? I mean, I know you cover all 3 areas, but is your primary focus in maybe 1 or 2 of those resorts, or you're fully invested in all 3 of them?
So I work all 3 of them. I say that the one that I get the most traffic on is Playa del Carmen.
Playa del Carmen.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Playa del Carmen, there is a good reason for it as well, because it's in between the 2. So you're very centrally located. It's a place that also you have hospitals and you have all the banks and you have a lot of restaurants that you can walk all over the city, like really when you're on the east side of Playa del Carmen. Bicycle, no problem. Mopeds, it's very, very easy. And people really like to come and be here. We have a lot of a new market that started probably about 5 years ago was people being able to work remotely. And Playa del Carmen is something that they absolutely love just because of the ease of the city to be able to get around.
And you guys have bike lanes there, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So that's nice.
Very nice bike lanes.
Yeah. They added those in Vallarta as well a few years ago. So that's nice.
It's smart. And as long as you're not, and it's affordable also, like if you go out to eat, if you go out on Fifth Avenue, okay. I mean, that's like saying going in South Beach, about same.
It's packed.
Exactly.
It's always packed.
it's packed, and you're gonna pay because I mean you're off Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
But when you get out of Fifth Avenue, I mean you have options to where you can very, very easily and very affordable to be able to have like nice meals, and that's something that I appreciate. Grocery stores are also like, or grocery prices, I should say. You can find little markets with very, very accessible prices. And for me, it's become a thing to go to one place for one thing and then to go to different ones for the other things.
Yeah. Well, I noticed, at least here in Vallarta, we have a lot of independent little markets,
Hmm.
and I find a lot of organic fruits and vegetables and great fish. So at a fraction of the cost. I mean, in the States, it would cost double or triple.
Oh
It's
my God.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing how affordable certain things are out here,
And
right?
fresh and
And
fresh.
fresh.
I mean,
Yeah.
and there's a big grocery stores, I mean, which we're all used to.
Yep.
But after being here for a few years, you know what? It's like I also want to support the mom and pop operations, and just the product that I get, it's amazing. Towards like, I mean, yeah, okay, so I have to go to like 4 or 5 different little places, but I also get to try some cool stuff that maybe I wouldn't have if I just go to the big grocery store.
You mentioned about hospitals, so
Mhm.
that's something that's really important,
Huge.
especially for like the baby boomers that are moving to Mexico, and also now Generation X. They're kind of 10, 15 years from retirement, so they're starting to think about for a second home, retirement home abroad. So for people that are really thinking about healthcare, I mean, do you guys have a bilingual staff at these hospitals and clinics? Will it be difficult for people who don't speak Spanish?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about this area, just because of the large number of people that come through. And I mean, English is it's a language that almost everybody knows. So no, pretty much all medical facilities, everybody here has at least one person that be able to assist, but normally most people here speak English. I think that probably where you find the least amount and you still find like somebody that will, it's in the back, but no, pretty much here, anywhere you go,
Yeah.
you're not going to have an issue if you don't speak Spanish.
And
Somebody
and I think that makes the transition a lot easier
a lot
for
easier.
people as
Mhm.
they pick up on a few words, in Spanish. At least they feel like they can communicate. And God forbid, they have to, they have a health concern. They go to a hospital. They know that they're going to be able to communicate and be taken
Absolutely.
care of. That's really important for a
Yes.
lot of people. And
Yes.
how is people talk about crime? There's crime everywhere in the United States, anywhere you go in the world. But what is the crime situation like in Playa del Carmen and Cancun and Tulum?
I mean, it would be a fallacy to say that nothing happens here, because of course there are things that happen,
Sure.
petty robberies and things like this. But in general, as a whole, it's very, very, very safe. I have never felt unsafe. I have never felt uncomfortable. Say that if I was on Fifth Avenue walking at night to get to my car,
Hmm.
I think that if you're doing things that maybe you shouldn't be doing, then there is a chance
Right.
that
Right.
something more substantial can happen. I mean, petty robbery, just like anywhere, of course it does. So I mean, my suggestion on that is always be like aware of where you have your stuff.
Sure.
Don't just kind of like leave it anywhere towards temptation for some.
Right. Well, if you're going clubbing and you walk out of the bar at 3 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and you've got different type of crowd around you,
Yes.
there's a potential for problems. And I'm from Los Angeles, so same thing in LA and anywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
Just kind of use common sense, right?
That's the gist of it. That's the
Yeah.
gist of it.
And you live in Playa del Carmen. Is that your headquarters there?
I do, yes. This is
Okay.
where I live, and this is where I move the most, and I love it, and
Cool.
yes, I will not change it.
All right. So let's move down to the third stop, which is Tulum.
Yes.
So how far is Tulum? I mean, I can't remember. I think it was about an hour drive. Am I right? 45 minutes to an hour?
About 45 minutes to an hour, yes. See, that's right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right in the middle. So, yes, it's
Okay.
about 45 minutes.
So what does Tulum look like, and what can one expect in terms of real estate over there?
Okay, so Tulum started again, like the first time that I went was like nothing to what it looks like now. They still have managed to keep a lot of that wild factor to it, jungly factor, just because of the way that construction mainly is developed. But there's also been a lot of I mean, and in some instances, I feel like some overdevelopment right now because the growth has been so fast. But it's also something that comes with the territory, unfortunately. There are some areas that are definitely more well put together than others. So
And where are those areas? Would it be closer to the water or on the west?
yes. So it's on the east side. I mean, it depends on where you're in the town, but if you're like, as you're coming in to Tulum,
From Highway
from
307?
Highway 307, if you're
Uh-huh.
coming south on the 307 coming into Tulum, you have some areas on the west side, and they said that are pretty much equally developed because that's where the beginning of the town used to be. So the electric grid, the water, sewage, and everything was settled down properly. As you keep on moving south, coming into what is the Cobah Road, which is like the main corridor and the original road that took you down to the beach road to take you into Tulum Beach. That area is very well, again, developed and organized. But the Cobah Road, which is that main corridor, as you go east on the Cobah Road, I mean, it used to be pretty much all greenery, and now you have a lot of condo developments, and you have new shopping areas, and you have different things that have grown like really very quickly over the last 5 years. That area is fortunate that the infrastructure was already put in place there. So let's drive back from the Cobah Road and get back on the 307. As you keep on coming down and going south, you have areas that have expanded on the east side and the west side. There are new land that started coming available and developing. When we get to the Kukulkan Road, which is the second road that is now all the way access to the beach, it's not a very old road. It's a fairly new road, but that pushed like a lot of development and growth on that side. What has happened is that the development happened very quickly, and like the services sometimes are tending to be playing a little bit of catch up
Catch
now
up,
on
yeah.
those areas.
Hmm.
So you can run sometimes into into power outages or water shortages that they're working on right now. So I just want to emphasize that it's not that nothing is being done. It is being done, but it's just a reality of like the development and the growth happening faster than what you can do infrastructure wise.
Yeah.
But
And I think that happens a lot. I think, especially in the States as well. I
yes,
mean, it's the market is usually outpacing the government spending on the infrastructure, right?
correct.
So people want to move in and buy. So these developers are building to accommodate because the
Yes,
market requires it. And
correct.
however, government was really slow in funding anything. And then, starting, like you said, the infrastructure with the water, the electrical, and making sure the grid has enough capacity
Exactly.
to handle the electrical and all the other services. So there's always a growing pain, I think, in any
Yes.
city that's booming. It's you try to find the balance, but people say, "Oh my gosh, the Vallarta is growing so fast." It is because people want to move here and they're looking for homes, and so it's a supply and demand. Unfortunately, the government moves a lot slower in
Yes.
upgrading the infrastructure. They do it, and I've seen it happening all throughout Vallarta. They're upgrading the sewage system. I've seen them upgrading the water lines, also the electrical, but it's slow. It doesn't happen overnight. It is happening, but it's slower than what we would like, but we're not the government.
I know. Yeah, we want it now, but
Yeah, that
yes,
would be nice.
yes, that would be nice. No, and you see the same thing in this area. You see that the government is doing things, but yes, it is slow, and it's so important. I feel to keep in mind the age that this whole area has really in terms 55. It's just not that old, and to have like such rapid growth happen in such a short period of time, of course there's going to be growing pains. And Tulum is also now I think also gearing up more because a couple of years ago the Tulum airport, the international airport of Tulum, opened. So you have to put up with that infrastructure. You have to know that growth, that people are going to be coming because there's a demand for it. There's 2 train stations in Tulum. So as that project also gets more matured and developed, because they're still very new things. So the only thing that's going to make them better is time, because they need to figure out what works, what's not working, what are some of the things that need to be adjusted. I mean, just like we do as human beings as we grow, we don't grow up to be this awesome like you and I are right now. This takes work. So
It's a lot of work.
it's a lot of work, exactly. So this
Some things are falling apart.
tell me about it. I know.
Well,
So yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
well, Susanna, you said there's an international airport now in Tulum.
Yes, there is.
My God, and it opened when?
2 years ago.
Okay, so flights can come in from where? Are they coming from Europe? Do you have flights from Mexico City to go there?
So it started because there's still very few flights, but every time, but I mean, like, I don't know, like every few months you hear new airlines coming in. They're coming in from the States. They're coming in from some parts of Mexico. They're coming in from Europe. I'm not sure, but no, mainly from the States and from Canada. Some are starting to come too.
That's great.
Yeah, no,
Instead of, because you had to land in Cancun and then
Yes.
drive all the way down to
I know.
Tulum. So, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, this definitely cuts it.
Yeah. Okay, so Susanna, going back to 300,000 to 500,000 price point,
Yes.
what can we find? Is it doable? Is it reasonable? What does it look like? Is it old? Is it new? Do you have any amenities?
You're going to have a lot of new. You're not going to have any ocean front. But that is also because in the Tulum hotel zone, in what is like the branch of the beach, there's no residential.
Okay.
There were some projects that were starting to come, but nothing that was like concrete, and that was there because it was, just the density wasn't there, that you have like it's full of hotels and beach clubs, basically. So there's really no space for homes, and the homes that are there oceanfront, because there's a couple like big houses, but those are in the millions of dollars.
Okay.
Like 5 to about $8 million.
So what can I find for $300,000, and how far from the beach would that be?
So 300,000. You have a good location. You can get options, like I said, on that Cobar Road. You can be inside Aldea Zama. You can be on Region 8 and some of the new construction condominiums, because this is an area that pretty much everything is going to be new.
So how far is that from the beach exactly? Region
So,
8?
for example, depends on like the regions that I'm talking about. The locations I'm discussing are east of the 307, so they're going to be on the beach side of the road. But something that is important for everybody to understand that because it is new, you could be into not paved roads. You could be
So you have dirt roads.
Yes,
maybe.
dirt roads and surrounded by jungle, and this just is a good opportunity, but you're going to be dealing with the growing pains that
Sure.
those regions are going to have, but also that is going to represent in the future, asset appreciation as Tulum finds its footing with prices that are matching what the public wants, and also with like the restaurants and all of the available amenities that they come in line, because something that happened and I don't know that it's unfortunate, it's just part of the normal things, because we also see it in the States. The price of things started to go up quite a bit, and more than it should have.
Yeah.
And
Well, post-pandemic, the whole planet got more
Yeah.
expensive. Anywhere you go, any corner of the world, maybe there might be a few, but the price of everything has gone up from water to buying clothes,
Absolutely.
grocery shopping, car insurance, health insurance, you name it. I don't think there was any product or service that was not touched by the post-pandemic inflation.
I agree.
Right? It's the new norm.
Yes.
We get a lot of people, even in the States, and my family lives in California, and the cost of living has gone up over
It's
there.
insane. It's so crazy.
It's the new norm. I think this is what we're going to have to work with. This is our new life.
Yes.
And we're just going to have to choose what we're going to spend money on and invest in, and we're going to have to edit a few things.
Absolutely.
It is what it is, right? What else can you do? You have to make the best of it.
No, absolutely. I agree. But in Tulum, there was a little bit of a disproportionate thing for a bit, but I think all of that is coming in line as well. And I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's not like ridiculous expensive. It's just, what you see anywhere else that is normal. And for Mexico, really, look, I used to live in Houston, and I have family in Houston, and Houston used to be this very affordable city. And the last time that I went, I was like, wow, man, things have gone like way up on things that were not used to being like that.
Yeah. Well,
So
go to Los Angeles, same thing. It's
no, I will.
I was there during the holidays, and it's a bit of a sticker shock.
Yeah.
And you know,
South
I
Florida.
mean,
I have family in South Florida. That got even more crazy than it was.
yeah,
So it's
but still, I mean, my experience here in Vallarta is the cost of living here is still a fraction of what it is. I'm just going to compare it to Los Angeles because that's where I'm from. It's
yes.
still it's a fraction of, yes, things cost more here now, but things cost more back there as well. So if you compare the two, it's still a fraction of what it costs in Los Angeles. You know,
I
but
agree.
again, that's just that. This is the new norm. This is what we're living with.
It is.
And so, Susanna, you know, we get a lot of baby boomers retiring and moving here.
Yes.
But now we're getting a few people coming down here because of the current political climate, you know, north of the border. Are you experiencing something similar?
Taniel, we are. It's something that, I mean, is unfortunate, the things that are happening, but I think also for us, in Mexico, it's a blessing and it's a good thing, and going in line with that political aspect and the economic aspect. Because I think you'll agree with me on this. Once, even when you own property, I mean, your cost of living on things is very, very low, as long as you're not going out to eat all the time or not the very
Sure.
expensive areas and restaurants. But I mean, to be able to like have your life and be able to have a very, very good, very comfortable living, once you own it, definitely like your cost on groceries and services, like the most expensive thing here would be electricity, but it depends on how much you use your AC, I
Well,
suppose.
same thing in LA, you know? Yeah, it really depends if you're cranking the AC 24/7, like some people do. Los Angeles here or anywhere else in the
Yeah,
state.
it's just a matter of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. Okay, so Susanna, if you had if you could give one advice to some of our, you know, American and Canadian clients that are sitting on the fence, you know, they want to move to Mexico, but they haven't done it, you know, because of fear or uncertainty, what advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, do it now. No, but no, okay, seriously. Something that is very, very important is that you're very comfortable with the person that you're working with, which preferably should be a licensed independent agent, because our job, or the way that I can speak for me personally, is for me to be able to guide you in making the best investment possible to suit your needs. And like me, anybody that is licensed and that has been doing this for a while, we're looking out for the well-being of our clients, to be able to protect them and be able to guide them into the best possible product, whether that be a long-term rental or a real estate purchase, and be able to show you the product and know the different products that are out there for sale, for rent, and that we have gone through the process of getting licensed to know and understand the law. Because something that was brought upon also by all of this boom here is sometimes people that can sell real estate and are not necessarily licensed. And when somebody's not licensed, I mean, they don't really know or understand the laws, or or all the products and the things. So just knowledgeable. And I always tell people, and on anything that I write or I blog and everything, I mean, that's for credentials. I mean,
Yeah.
I am definitely not going to get upset for anybody asking if they can see my real estate license. Please ask. That's why I have it. I want you to see it. I want you to be comfortable, and interview the person that you're working with. I mean, beyond just the properties, beyond just that, talk and see how comfortable you feel with them and how they feel with you, because it's a relationship what you're creating, and
Yes.
that's important.
Yeah. You know, you could either be transformational or transactional.
Correct.
You know, I think in our field, we're transforming people's lives. I mean, they've worked hard all their lives. You know, a lot of our clients are middle class. They were not born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Correct.
And everything that they have, they worked really hard for.
Mhm.
And, you know, I think it's really important, regardless, you know, if you know, your family was wealthy from the beginning, or you built your, whatever wealth you have, whatever money you've saved up, it's really important to work with a reputable, seasoned agent, you
Absolutely.
know, and if they're new, there are a lot of new agents that are, you know, honest, but look at who are they working for? The company. Are they, you know, Are they well networked? Do they have attorneys lined up? And
Exactly.
who's their broker? Who else is in the office? And how long they've been in business? And I think that's really important because people are putting a lot of faith in your hands, and there's no room for error.
No, I mean, they're putting their trust in you.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And their finances, because, whatever capital they're coming with, and like you said, somebody that has worked very hard to put it together or that they've had the money, I mean, it doesn't matter at all. And it's important, yes, as an agent, any agent, just to keep that in mind and know that they're trusting you with that financial part that is their dream. It was my dream,
Yeah. Well, Susana, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us. And if someone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way to reach you?
So, I have my webpage. So it's susimacdonald.com, SUSI, and then it's MAC, susimacdonald.com. Or, shoot me an email, which you should be able to you are able to send me an email directly from the webpage to contact me. That will be the best way. Follow me on Instagram, Susie MacDonald Real Estate. Follow me on Facebook, Susie MacDonald Real Estate Agent.
And what's your name?
And my name is Susana MacDonald. So it's all over. Like, you will be able to find my
I get
name.
it. Well, you know what? We're going to put your contact information in the description of this podcast.
Great.
And so people can reach you easily. And Susana, thank you so very much for joining us today. I'm so happy. I'm seeing you virtually again.
I know.
Hopefully I'll see you in person or either in Playa Carmen, or have you been to Puerto Vallarta before?
It's been a really long time before I even knew you. If not, I would have called you, but I really want to go. So I'm definitely going to come and see.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome to come over anytime. I would love to show you the city. And this place has boomed a lot since I moved here in October of 2003. So,
wow. Well, yeah.
We'll share a lot of stories.
And same here. Whenever you come to Playa, please, I love to show you. And thank you so much for having me. This was super fun. I really enjoyed it.
No, thank you. This was great. And we're going to have you come back real soon, okay? We'll do a follow-up.
Sounds good.
All right, Susana. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Your retirement in Mexico starts right here, and we're excited to be part of your journey. Every episode, we bring you the magic of Mexico, insider tips, and expert advice to help you take that next big step with confidence. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It helps others like you discover the endless possibilities waiting south of the border. Got a topic you'd like for us to cover? We'd love to hear from you. Send your suggestions to info@TanielChemsian.com. And remember, a life well lived isn't left to chance. It's created with intention. See you next time.